So here we are with Follow the Money Investor Group. We have a wonderful opportunity today to speak to Vern Baker, who's the president and CEO of Jaguar Mining. Vern, thanks very much for joining us today.
Great to be here, Mark.
And I understand you have more than 3 decades in the industry of mining, sir. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm starting to get a few gray hairs.
I understand. Well, obviously you bring experience to the table. We appreciate that. And in these segments, our viewers always appreciate hearing from inside the company what's happening, what the exciting opportunities are, and where things are right now. So we're going to lift off because we have a first quarter results, and we want to walk through some of the details and highlights for that. So I'm going to hand things over to you and really hear from the source what's been happening at Jaguar Mining, if you wouldn't mind walking us through what's happening right now.
All right. I'm going to start again with our basin. We have good. We're coming through the coronavirus issue, which is the biggest issue of certainly the last year, maybe of our current era. But we have good solid capital structure. We're very comfortable with the cash we got in the bank and our ability to generate free cash flow to go forward. We think that we have 2 very good mines. Right now, we've had our struggles with the coronavirus over the last quarter, especially, but really for the last full year, we've been dealing with it. And then but it really comes down to it that both mines are operating, have good solid teams, and are really ready to step up, move through the coronavirus issue, and step up in their performance. And as an organization, we feel that one of our real strengths is simply where we're located. The Iron Quadrangle of Brazil has been producing gold for well over 300 years. It is still we see as a tremendous location, located as a gold producer. And we have we think a great organic growth opportunity. We're actually we're currently operating two properties, each with its own processing plant. But both plants are under task right now. We have 2,000 ton per day plants, one running at about 1,200 tons a day and one running at about 1,300 tons a day. So we have turning capacity available as our exploration team brings more resources online, and we believe we're going to see some great information flowing this year as our exploration. We've invested a lot in it starting last year. The teams have built up. We've started getting the holes drilled. We're getting our returns from the assay labs now. We really feel it's a great opportunity going forward. Now, this kind of builds on some growth we've seen over the last year. Our company saw some struggles starting in 2017. Saw very tough performance in 2018 and 2019. In 2019, however, we really started investing. We recapitalized the organization with money and support from our shareholders. We put in place a plan to build our production back up to 100,000 ounces. Okay. And in 2020, as you see, we really started making that progression.
Nice job.
And that was done within the framework last year of coronavirus impact. However, Brazil wasn't really that heavily hit in 2020. It impacted us. We had significant protocols. It impacted how we operated and what we did. And we had some limitations and some people that weren't available to work because they were sick. However, in the first quarter of this year, we had way more impact in the first quarter of this year than we did in the 9 months the coronavirus year. And it was the same in Brazil. Brazil really saw its numbers accelerate and kind of peaking. We believe peaking at the end of March and right at the beginning of April. So that will produce. We were targeted originally at about 100,000. Not even. We were targeted at 100,000 ounces for this year. Significantly impacted in the first quarter. We came in about 6,000 ounces below our objective for that quarter. again, far and away the biggest driver was the coronavirus.
I hear
We're a mining company. We have mining issues. We're working on those all the time. Every quarter, whether we have coronavirus or not. We're starting the second quarter, of course, with the challenges of being at the peak. But we have also, gotten our teams have accommodated to it a bit, prepared. We don't expect our production to jump back up to the levels we had because we're still under many of the same protocols. But we see this as a quarter where we rebuild and come back up to the level of production that we see as a sustainable number.
Okay. Great to hear that. I mean, the whole world's watching news about COVID, where things are globally. And so what I'm hearing from you, Vern, at this point is there's an opportunity here for a bit of a resurgence. There's been the natural implications of what's happening with COVID and staff off sick, and that we're coming through this to the other side, and we're looking forward to a bit more of a resurgence based on that, from what I understand.
Exactly.
Great.
Exactly.
Great.
And while the first quarter was more challenging, we really see a year where we going to have very strong margins on our production performance as we go forward, and that a significant portion of that's going to be invested in exploration and in capital investment in sustaining the production and in looking at what we can do to grow that production as we go forward.
I understand.
And we have a tremendous opportunity, I believe, going forward. Going back to that capital structure, we have a very, very strong shareholder. He was incredibly supportive, both to recapitalize the company in 2019 and with us in dealing with the coronavirus so far. Really been good. We have quite a few other significant shareholders that have also been very supportive.
Great.
Really feel good about the team, all the way from the owners to our helpers at the mine. People are on board.
Great to hear that. I mean, that's one of the obvious questions on a financial basis. How is the company situated to get through some of these moments? Naturally, things ebb and flow. There's ups and downs when it comes to this industry. How is Jaguar Mining situated financially so that you weather some of those tougher moments and look forward to the upswing?
Oh yeah, we 2 years ago the company was in trouble. We restructured. The capital structure was redone. We infused some money into it. We, over the last year, including 2020, we took care of basically all the debt, except for some small, almost rotating debt that we have kind of to keep our presence active with Brazilian banks.
Yeah.
And we're basically debt free. We have very significant cash in the bank. Well over 30 million. And that's there to handle these kind of variations, right? Mm-hmm. 2 years ago, we couldn't have handled the problem of a quarter where coronavirus impacted. Mm-hmm. Now we handle it quite casually and come out of it stronger, right? We did not have to eliminate exploration spending. We continued the very strong exploration spending and very strong capital investment, even though we had a quarter that was heavily impacted. We still have well over $30 million in the bank. Mm-hmm. We're looking to go forward. We've paid dividends for several quarters now. Our expectation is that with that solid base of cash in the bank, allow us to deal with fluctuations in performance and in the market and all those kind of things. That's there to help us do a couple things: continue investing in our properties and our exploration opportunities, and to allow us to repay our shareholders, which we think is important. I think it's important for us to continue paying a dividend to show that we are solid and have a high level of confidence in our ability of these mines to generate cash.
That's fantastic news, Vernon. I mean, as an investor, we're always looking for companies that believe in balance, right? And we have companies that are, some companies are better at housekeeping than other companies. And it sounds like there's been a really healthy movement of housekeeping when it comes to the company, and therefore honoring the investors at the other end. It's fantastic.
We hope so. And, it all shakes out over time. The company came through some very hard times in 2018 and 2019. We built a pretty solid culture of keeping ourselves focused on moving our organization ahead at that time, and really see now as very opportunistic. We're going to come out of this coronavirus pandemic, and I think we're going to be a much stronger company than we were. We're going to have good money in the bank. We're going to have good, solid cash flows coming. We believe we can have good, consistent, sustainable production coming off the two mines, and a nice pipeline developing of organic opportunities. Right? We have properties. They all have some kind of known gold princes on them.
Okay.
We're putting holes in them, right? And that's how you truly grow a gold company. Is you have to develop those gold resources so we can turn them into reserves. And then we can turn them into gold bars after that.
Fantastic. I mean, it sounds to me there's really no time for rest or pausing in the process. You're always rethinking and bringing innovation in so that you're looking ahead down the road, which is a great sign, I think.
Yeah, keeping it dynamic, of course, is very important. And we mention it a lot, and I don't know how anybody could not be fairly focused on the impacts of coronavirus.
Yes.
And it's not just, the fact you have people don't show up for work because they're sick. And it's not just the fact that every single person at work is talking about the coronavirus rather than talking about how they can make more gold today, right? Although it's there, but we have to work with the communities and the governments that are here, because, where we've seen in many places, the biggest impact on the government shutting people down. We've been very pleased working with our local communities and put quite a bit of effort into it. We have some really good people working on it. But the governments here, local, state, and federal, very supportive of industry in whole, of mining specifically, and of us as an organization that can help them do it. We put quite a bit of effort into that as well, and feel while we're supporting them, they're also supporting us. Look forward to growth in the future because we work together.
Beautiful. Beautiful. What are some of the highlights of your Q1 report?
Highlights and lowlights, of course. What we saw is the biggest impact we ended up seeing from the coronavirus was a lack of people showing up. Right, we had basically almost 30% of our overall workforce either got the disease and or was excluded for some point of time because they were being tested and we had to wait for test results, or a significant number of people were not allowed on site because they had some risk factor, right? Either age, diabetes, obesity, lung problems. So you had that issue, and what that did is put the stress back onto the operating teams to try and keep the mills full. It really reflected a lot eventually in the fact that we got a few less meters than we would have liked, a little bit less tonnage than we liked, but mostly we got lower grade as we mined higher up in our mines, which tends to be a lower grade resource for us, but it's easier to get. So we ended up with a lot of focus on getting the tons, keeping the mills turning, keeping our operations working, and the grade was disappointing in total. Generally got the grade we expected from those stopes. It was just disappointing in that it's not the level that we want in the long term.
I hear that. And here's a great example when a company has cleared up their debt and are in a healthy, financial situation to take on some of these bumps and bruises along the way. That's very encouraging.
Well, it's exactly right. If you're in a spot where you don't have cash in the bank and you don't have the ability to balance performance over a longer period of time, you can be hammered by a low grade cycle, and by trying to make and having to make adaptations that happen when you have so much impact to your workforce and to your communities and to your whole psyche. So, like these are a couple of really nice home mines. We have good, solid teams. They have a lot of confidence in the resource and the reserves. And as we come out of this and we start not having to deal with the stress and the protocols and the consistent pressure brought on by coronavirus, we really foresee our performance coming up to what we think should be happening, which is basically, 25,000 plus or minus ounces produced for about 100,000 ounces a year. Okay. Is kind of sustainable of these two mines with their current resource bases for quite a while. Now, it means we got to do the development. We got to drive those meters of development. We got to do our exploration drilling. But we've made a real effort to keep all of that stuff up at a level that continues to maintain the long-term viability of our organization.
Understood. And again, I see the potential here of looking forward to an upswing, which is the overarching energy. It's great. Good stuff. Good stuff. What else can you share with us?
One of the things, these are all still kind of performance issues on what we did. And basically we'll again see that one of the big drivers was the fact that dealing with all of our issues, we ended up with a much lower grade feed to our mill. Mm-hmm. We have, I've mentioned this before, but this organization is really well positioned to grow organically. We have, plus or minus 50,000 acres, not acres, excuse me, hectares of good exploration positions in the Iron Quad. And, we committed significant exploration drilling dollars and team dollars and to bringing these things forward, because we're sitting with actually 3 mills in total. We have 2 operating, and we have a third mill, which will also run at about 2,000 tons per day. So, we're sitting with capacity of about 6,000 tons per day handle ore, and we're using about 2,400 to 2,500 of it.
Okay.
This is a tremendous opportunity, and we have the land positions to develop the resources that can allow us to put reserves on the plate that can be put into those mills. And, so we're moving ahead with a lot of our exploration. We haven't stopped it. We have a small hiatus going around right now simply because the government restrictions are so high because of the peak here in Brazil. And we had to shut down some of our third-party operators, which includes some of the exploration drilling.
Okay.
Because there was significant amount of delay, also due to the coronavirus, in getting assays back, and it's not going to really hamper us because it basically gives us a little hiatus to get the information back and probably be a little more comfortable with our drilling program going forward, which we expect to basically be restarting within a week.
Okay.
So about a 4-week hiatus.
Okay. Fantastic. I also hear the support of the government, Vern, too. You're talking 3 levels of government. So you clearly have the local support to move in the right direction as this is all happening. We're moving through the pandemic and we're looking towards the light at the end of the tunnel. So to have that kind of level of support, I would think is invaluable.
Oh, and it's critical in times of stress like the coronavirus. That those times of stress is when it becomes very, very important to build those relationships and to support. And we've committed more money to helping hospitals locally, to helping the communities recuperate. And, we just communicating what we're doing with our protocols to keep our people safe at work, been very well received. The local communities have appreciated that effort and really, as I said, it's a great place. And I've worked from Patagonia to northern British Columbia, right? Brazil and the Iron Quad is a great place to be a gold miner.
Good to hear.
It's a great spot, great place overall.
Great to hear that. Great to hear that. Where are some of the other highlights, moving from the end of 2020 into the first quarter of 2021, and as it's really pivoting towards spring, summer, and finding some good news. Where's the energy here on the presentation?
Okay, so as we go forward, one, we got to rebuild our production profile. Quarter two is not going to be a huge rebuild, simply because we already know we're starting out in a hole with we started April with every single protocol you could put in place to minimize coronavirus. We've seen a good impact. We've gone from having, a total of probably 30 people out for coronavirus to 1.
Wow.
In a matter of about 4 weeks.
Fantastic.
So making that effort is of value. We're going to rebuild that, but that's kind of a given that we have to perform at the level. We have to push the ounces out. We said on top of that, where we really generate excitement is with that organic growth profile and our ability to find more gold. So we have, this one just gives you an idea, kind of some of the major areas we're drilling in. But one up here is called Zona Basal in Pina. Done a significant amount of drilling. We've released a little bit of information on it already. We have more information coming in, and we're to our second cycle, right? Have enough information to plan a second cycle of work. Cohego Brandao, of course, that's not how it looked to English speakers, but that's how you pronounce that.
Okay.
Is an area that probably was the most exciting for me before I even joined the company. And I want to be part of a company that has that kind of an exploration opportunity. We have had our first pass drilling has been extremely interesting. We've released a little bit of that information already. But it's kind of coming together and getting a little hiatus to allow us to get all the results back, and we think is going to be beneficial. And we will start putting out information really through the rest of the spring and summer is when we'll start releasing the exploration information as we have enough of it compiled and enough of it back in our hands to use. And with both those programs, we're going to go.
Fantastic. Something to look forward to.
Yeah, we also started last year a joint venture exploration program with IM Gold on one of the blocks. That's an area we have our unused mill sitting there with 2,000 tons of capacity, pretty much ready to go. We still turn the mills every week to make sure everything stays lubricated and operating. And we're working very hard with the team there to identify what can potentially be additional resources to build again into reserve. I think we're going to see some exciting stuff come out of that. And then our two mines, the Turmalina mine and the Pilar mine, we've got a lot of diamond drilling that's gone on in those mines. We're continuing to see some good reports from the drill holes that we get there, and really see those as solid, sustainable mines that within them we may, even within those mines, be able to build some organic growth.
Excellent. A quick question for you, Vernon, when it comes to precious metals, a time when the economy is up and down, we're all experiencing the impact of COVID right now. There's a lot of conversation about gold, in particular, precious metals, in terms of a long view. You work in this industry. What are your thoughts there when it comes to the benefit and the advantage of having precious metals in your portfolio?
I'm a gold miner. To a big extent, most of my portfolio in total is somehow involved in gold mining or gold itself.
Okay.
And so I believe in gold, and gold miners should believe in gold. But I will tell you, I think, don't take it as simply the thoughts of one person who's in the gold industry, is gold is going to be a very important store of wealth over the next several years. Our economies are going to change so much due to this pandemia. Well, and I'm mixing my Portuguese and English there, excuse me, due to this pandemic.
Yes.
And it's going to change so much that I don't think any of us can predict what it is. And that huge change and that unknown, as that really becomes clear to everybody, and the fact that every single country in the world is printing money right now. Right? It's not like well, the United States is printing money. Everybody. So at some point, I think all of us are going to want something we can tangibly hold.
Understood.
Not something that's so vague that, you know, you can buy Bitcoin, but nobody, and I've bought the books, nobody's been able to explain to me why there's a real value to Bitcoin. Whereas I can tell you what, you hold gold in your hand and you can see the value.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So of course, I'm a gold miner. I believe in gold. And I think as gold miners, I think the golden age is probably going to be coming upon us over the next couple of years. Beautiful.
And again, looking at this calendar year in particular, we've got a chapter change happening from Q1 to Q2. Things are feeling the upswing is on the horizon. It sounds to me, Jaguar Mining also, you're a balancing act on every single day. You've got a team to take care of. You've got people going through the pandemic. How do you balance staffing, management, and the growth and exploration of what's happening in the gold industry? That's not an easy task on a good day. So the fact that Jaguar Mining has this vision, financially, you're in the shape that you're in, and there's some good news down the pike, I think is a very good sign.
Well, I'll tell you, you see it within any organization, but in March, it was really hard within our organization to find people that were highly optimistic. They were dealing with sick family members. They were sick themselves. They didn't know, the IC units. I'm right here in Brazil, in Belo Horizonte, in the middle of Minas Gerais. Our hospitals were at 108% of the ICU capacity. When someone got sick, there was not a bed for them to get in. We had a couple members of our team who had gotten coronavirus and were in ICU, right? And people were worried. Of course, as a team, a management team, we encouraged people. We were doing everything we could. We put whatever we could into place for protocols to help kind of maintain confidence.
Excellent.
And it's turned around. Even though our numbers are still pretty high, they're starting to move down for the country. They've moved down for our state and our location, and for our company very significantly. And the enthusiasm and the energy and the concept that things are we're going to have better days. Tomorrow's going to be a better day than today, not worse. It's going to be better. And next month's going to be better than this month. And next year will be better than this year. We're really beginning to feel that as a whole group of people.
Oh, that's great to hear, Vernon. That's very optimistic at a time. Some of us have a hard time looking past the day-to-day, the fine detail versus the 30,000-foot view where you get to see the big picture and look at the long view. And I think that's important at a time like today where economies, as you say, are struggling, printing money around the world like nobody's business. And, how do you hold space for the fact that things are going to get better? And what's your best decision as an investor? Where else do we want to go in terms of the Q1 report?
As far as Q1, we want to move on to Q2 and going. We have, of course, at our sites, we will not be at our fully sustainable rate in Q2, but we will be better than we were in Q1 as far as ounce production. We're going to be strong on our exploration efforts and our exploration spend, and we're going to be driving our organization forward to be a much stronger company when we come out of the pandemic, and just a great opportunity to invest in gold.
Great to hear that. Great to hear that. One other thought from my side here, Vern, is that from the inside view, it's a great opportunity to hear from inside a company. Thoughts about your team, the management, the structure of the company. Obviously, you feel like you're in a good place. You've got the right players on board to come through something like the pandemic. Tell me about just the general weather gauge for management and vision and structure of the company moving into better days.
I think one of the things, we are a Brazilian-based company. We're here in Brazil. Our actual stock is on the Toronto Stock Exchange. We actually have 2 people that live in Toronto that are part of our team. One of whom is Brazilian and moved to Toronto.
Okay.
Part of our team up there. I believe there are a sum total of 3 people in our organization that aren't born in Brazil. Right? We are working hard to be really effective, being good Brazilian miners. We don't really need to be great North American miners or even South American miners. We need to be great at being in Brazil. We have an incredibly strong team. I believe we've got some great people. We've provided a lot of opportunity as a small organization that you quite often can't see within a bigger company, which has allowed us to bring some really high quality people here in Brazil into play.
Fantastic.
So the team is some of the best people I've seen, right? They speak Portuguese. A lot of them speak some English too, or maybe better English than I do. But really, it's a Portuguese-speaking management team because the people doing the work are speaking Portuguese, and our management team needs to be able to speak with them. I'm getting there, but I still have to be very reliant on that strong Brazilian team of communicating with all of our people.
I understand.
Again, I couldn't be more pleased, and as I said, I've worked from pretty far north in this hemisphere to pretty far south. I'm pleased with the team that's leading us here, that's leading this organization forward. I've seen it.
Terrific. Vernon, this is a great overview and fine detail of what's happening inside the company. I feel energy and excitement about what's coming down the pike as Q2 unfolds. Is there anything else that you'd like to share today?
I personally am very focused on us operating sustainably and consistently. But as well, we have a couple of other avenues to grow our organization. Of course, I don't think there's a better way to add value than to find more gold on property we currently own in an area that's reasonably good, if not as good as any place for permitting new operations, and where we have the infrastructure already built. We don't have to invest a bunch of money in building mills. We've got them.
I understand.
And so, in permitted places to operate, we've already got. So we've got this organic growth opportunity. We have a team that's really focused on bringing our organization through the pandemic and being a strong, successful gold mining company at the end of it. And, we're keeping our eye out. There is always opportunity of is there something external, some kind of merger and acquisitions? We're certainly looking for those opportunities. Okay. They have to be pretty good because we really, truly see some great opportunity on our own properties. It means anything external has to be very good to really attract our desire to spend money or to spend really our energy in making them happen. But we're certainly open to the idea and looking for that as well. I think we can be a great company doing nothing but growing internally. I think over the next 5 years we can see good, consistent growth, and maybe that includes expanding through the M&A as well.
Okay, that's a great tease right there, Ron. I appreciate that. I know our viewers appreciate always hearing from inside the company. It's been a great journey so far, and I hear opportunity is on the table, and you're taking advantage of it. So, thank you very much for the time today, and we'll look forward to talking more another time.
Thank you, and have a great day yourself, Mark.
All the best, Ron. Cheers.